What a wonderful, wonderful evening. Thank you so much to everybody for coming this evening. This is an honor, and this is a wonderful organization to support. Vision, I can't think of anything more fundamental than that. Daphne, thank you so much. Congratulations on all your success with The Chew on ABC and your book that's coming out in April. Daphne and I used to work as interns at Fox News Channel together on the 3 a.m. shift, so you've gone a long way from that. I also want to thank Governor Patterson for being here this evening. Thank you very much. And I want to thank the Foundation Fighting Blindness. This is an organization that I've learned a great deal about over the last few months and have been extremely impressed. Bill Schmidt, their CEO, and the foundation, they are a very strong team, and they run a very good organization. This is a foundation to support. They are very good, and they are noble in their cause, and their money goes to research. So your money donated tonight is going to a very, very good cause. They are a world leader in retinal research, funding hundreds of projects at prominent institutions around the world, and especially in the United States. So thank you very, very much. I also want to thank Bill Schmidt and the foundation for providing our new venue for all of my family reunions. My sister, mother, and I are thrilled to be here this evening. I am up on stage for one reason, and that is to warm up the stage for my mother, Teri Ardleigh Swift. Although you will quickly see she doesn't need much help from me. My mother is an inspiration to me for many, many reasons, but one of them is the choice that I have made in my life to be an entrepreneur and to create my own organizations. Having my own company, having my own nonprofit was at the inspiration of my mother, who midway through life, when I was just a teenager, made a very, very bold decision to change the course of her life and change the focus of her life. And it was this change in focus, working at a cancer research company that was producing drugs for various forms of cancer, where she quickly picked up on the fact that one of these drugs, one of these compounds, impacted vision, and specifically macular degeneration. As the grandson of somebody who had macular degeneration, I felt very deeply that this was a noble and worthy cause. If it wasn't for private industry and private companies to have a focus on this, we would not be advancing the way that we are scientifically for a disease that afflicts so many. I am honored to be here tonight because it is a rare moment for a son to be able to introduce his mother. And my sister Robin, who is here from Virginia, we are so proud of our mother for the work that she has accomplished and what we know will be the final production of a drug that dramatically decreases the toxicity of the current drug being applied for macular degeneration. The idea that rather than needle injections into the eye, you can take a pill. Imagine the difference in life and quality of life that you can have if this works. So thank you, everybody in this room, for your support. Thank you for the support of my mother. My sister Robin and I are very, very proud. I'm now honored to introduce Bill Schmidt, who is the CEO of the Foundation Fighting Blindness and a man who I have a lot of respect for, running a very, very good nonprofit. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Schmidt. Bill Schmidt.
Well, I am honored to be here. I'm sorry, where am I? I was not. I think you were just going to speak. Anyway, well, I am delighted on behalf of the foundation to present the Visionary Award to Teri Ardleigh Swift for all the reasons that we've already discussed this morning, and we're honored to have you here, Teri. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. This is just such an amazing, amazing cause, and what a beautiful venue. I feel like we'd go back in time when we're here at the Plaza. It's gorgeous, and everybody is not afraid of the weather in New York. You know, you just You just come whether there's the threat of snow or whatever's happening. That's what's great. New York is just the best. Matt, thank you. Matt, thank you for that wonderful introduction. It comes from the heart, and I always was kind of hesitant about following you on the podium because you've loved the podium since second grade, so go figure. And Daphne, thank you so much. You are doing great things. You're promoting healthy eating, healthy lifestyle, your book, your television show. You're well on your way, and kudos to you. Well done. The Foundation Fighting Blindness. Thank you so much for honoring me with this Visionary Award. Bill Schmidt, thank you. Gordon and Lily Gund, the board members, the committees. Since October, we've had 8 a.m. phone calls. This is a dedicated group. The scientific team, there's Steve Rose and Tim Shane. You just can't get much more inspirational than them. It is a great team. I'd also like to point out that life is about connecting, and I would like to recognize Blake and Joanne Murphy, because that's how I found the Foundation for Fighting Blindness. Blake saw what we were doing, and he said, "We've got to call Jim McNeil. We've got to put these pieces together." And you know what? Everybody, we're all texting and doing all these things, but networking in person—that's what it's all about. I'd like to say thank you to Robin for coming tonight. She's got hard at work with her job and very busy, and made the trip from Virginia. And thank you, sweetie, for coming tonight. Also, there's a lot of people that these things come together, and I have to thank my childhood friend Beth Palmgren and her husband Dennis. Beth and I have been grown up since we were 3 years old in Connecticut, and they have supported me along this journey and gotten into as a full team supporter, and thank you both. And then just one more mention, my honorary son, Nick Logotheus. I have to embarrass him at least a little bit. I love you, honey. You always are supporting whatever we're doing. And then we come to what I do, and I have to say a truly special thanks is to Sherry Snyder and Chris Liang, and for all of their support, dedication, and incredible efforts. You know, foundations and biotech startups working together to find treatments and cures, and cures is always an interesting word, but hopefully we'll get there. It works, and it's exciting, and as these programs are proving it with the foundation, as Gordon mentioned, the Argus 2, the Bionic Retina, which is incredible. I know that the foundation, they actually funded this early version of it, and for small companies, that's what gets things going. That's what makes, when something like the foundation steps in and supports a project like that, that makes the difference of a company growing, and that's why now it's coming to market. But it's those early days, they're the tough ones. And also, another point on the foundation that I'm not sure everybody's aware of, they have a Career Development Award, and they support dozens of researchers, and they've gotten them excited, and it's coming off the ground, and these researchers are dedicated to nothing but research with retina studies. It's amazing. So let me tell you a little bit how I've grown. It's kind of unusual. At age 50, it occurred to me that no matter how, even though I'm not that great at math, I was in the second half of life. You hope it's the second half. You're in the second quarter of the football game, as they say. And here I was. I wasn't medically or scientifically oriented at all. I had very little background in this. I was actually a graphic designer. I had my own marketing company. And all of a sudden, as life is going on, both my parents were afflicted with challenging diseases. My mother, she had macular degeneration, or AMD, and my father had cancer. And this is just, it hit me, and all of a sudden, I kind of put the pieces together, and I said, I'm going to do something dramatically different. And so what did I do? I plunged into the field of biotechnology. Biotech, I think, it's interesting, because biotech holds the promise, because perhaps even the answers in finding some of these solutions that afflict so many people in this room, my mom and dad, and millions of other people out there. For most people, a leap into a field that you have absolutely no background in, it'd be considered a really wild ride, but I want to tell you a little bit. I knew a little something about wild rides. I grew up in Connecticut. I had a passion for riding. And my dream when I was little was that maybe one day I'd get to ride in Madison Square Garden here in New York. That was always the hope. And after a few years and many tumbles and all sorts of things, I did make it to Madison Square Garden, and I eventually made it to being a member of the United States Olympic team for the Munich Games. But I think it ties in because riding, like so many sports, it's just a rich training ground for the rest of your life. So I decided to saddle up and embrace the uncomfortable process of change. And that change was inspired by my parents' illnesses. My mother, a little bit about the late Susan Ardleigh, she was a sportswoman, an artist, a photographer, and an avid reader. And she made it to the ripe old age of 92, smoking all the way, I might add. But macular degeneration was diagnosed. She had the diagnosis in her 70s, and it was a life changer because all of a sudden you can't see your food, you can't see your grandchildren performing in the chorus or in plays or on the soccer field, and it impacted her life tremendously. It was a game changer. And when you can't do the things that you're used to doing and you're affected by vision loss, life is challenging. And as so many of you know, these diseases affect the entire family in so many ways. Well, my longtime friend, Sherry Snyder, he's a serial entrepreneur. He couldn't make it tonight, but a little bit how these pieces come together. Sherry's a founder of 14 companies, and his latest ones are Upstate, Molecular MD, Excovery, and Excovery Vision. And it was Sherry, he not only encouraged me to embrace the challenge of biotech, but he kind of put me through an MBA, and it's sort of the survival process of a startup. And within that process, it's still going on, within that process, it's where change is embraced and serendipity rules, which leads me to Excovery. Excovery was the company that was formed and created by Dr. Chris Liang. He's our chief scientific officer, and he's the hero tonight. He is my hero. Chris was the top scientist or student coming out of China, and the Chinese government sent him to Princeton for his PhD many years ago. And that was he studied quantum chemistry, and then he went on to the advanced studies, which is where Einstein's hang out, so to speak. Chris, in his career, has already developed a leading kidney cancer drug for oncology, which for scientists, that's unbelievable when you can actually develop a full-blown drug from scratch. I mean, it's amazing with his science. And so this company that Chris worked for was a small biotech company based in California. It was eventually bought, and eventually it was sold to Pfizer. And it's Pfizer's leading oncology company. They've thrown everything, even though it's for kidney cancer, they have done 179 different trials just to see if it will work in any other kind of cancer, and they're getting some good results. There are some side effects, but cancer, you gotta, right now they're going through, but this drug would never work in the eye because of toxicity. But the other thing is about with the same drug is for Pfizer. It is now Pfizer's, $1.5 billion in sales. So it's a blockbuster drug. So anyway, Sherry and I met Chris in 2003, and he told us that he thought that the entrepreneurial startup would enable him to develop less toxic drugs, with that meaning fewer side effects. And it was for cancer and for inflammation. And so we formed the company, and then lo and behold, we're at a venture capital conference up in Boston, and we're approached by a young man who said, you know, what you're telling us about these drugs, I think they'd work for ophthalmology and for various eye disease. And wow, this is sort of the aha moment in life, and I was struck by this incredible coincidence. And here it was. My dad had had cancer, my mom, macular degeneration, and here was this brilliant scientist coming into my life. And he was going to bridge the cancer and the ophthalmology. Currently, our drug at Discovery Vision we're now in 5 patients. Huge in drug development when you get to patients, because we've all cured a lot of mice. All of our participants are doing well. They're not having side effects, and we even have patients that in few short weeks, their vision has improved by 17 letters, which that's the equivalent of 3 lines on those eye charts. And as Gordon mentioned, the current treatment is an injection in the eye, and here we are, we have a pill, and this pill is showing the promise that we may get there, and we're so excited about it. I mean, it's just, and if we succeed, it's going to be a game changer, and it's going to be a game changer for the patients out there. Collaboration, and this is what ties us, a company like Vision, into the Foundation Fighting Blindness. In Discovery Vision's case, Sherry's provided the experience, the startup capital, and Chris, the amazing science. And I have the passion for connecting the company with potential funding, top researchers, and the pharmaceutical companies who can take it all the way. And my mission is to get this done as fast as humanly possible. There's zigs and zags, but every day I wake up and I say, how do we get closer to getting to patients? And we're getting there, but every day it seems long, but we're getting there. So this is the same model that the foundation has. It's exactly the same thing. And without this model and this kind of funding and this kind of forward thinking, there'd be very little hope of getting these promising treatments to the people who need them. That's why your support tonight is so important. Thank you again for this beautiful, prestigious award. I'm just so touched. And thank you, Matt, Robin, for their support coming tonight. I love you both. And Sherry, he's made the next 50 years full of promise. And my friends here tonight, both old and new. I don't want to say young and old, but thank you so much for coming, for your support. And I think we really and truly are onto something big. And lastly, I don't know, I would just like to invite everybody in this room to just join in our vision. Foundation for the Fighting Blindness is bridging the gap every single day. Thank you so much.